experience in crafting DPI and its leadership has become a testament of its commitment to leveraging technology for a nation's progress. The DPI's emphasis on having shared building blocks and supporting innovation across the system has emerged as a pivotal and applaud-worthy approach in the global landscape. While some consider DPI to be a shared means to many ends, it still is an evolving concept. And to talk more about this, we have with us Mr. T Koshy, who's the MD and CEO of ONDC, a new-age network-based open protocol that is believed to be the next game changer after UPI. Mr. Koshy, thank you so much for joining us for this special conversation. And I would like to start this conversation with you about the increasing role and the importance and the threats of AI. Because AI has been a part of several conversations now and is increasingly gaining importance. So if we look at the role of ONDC in India's DPI, how can the protocol dovetail with AI better for its effective use?
As you would have understood, the idea of open network for digital commerce is broad-basing the participation. How is it made possible? It is by unbundling the building blocks of commerce and make them interoperable. When you look at the role of AI and how it can really make this more powerful, that you would see opportunities explode in two ways. One is that when each of the building blocks are going to be developed by very specialized agencies, they would realize that AI is one of the very powerful tools that can use. In the old world of e-commerce, there are only a few large players. I'm sure that they are using very, very advanced AI solutions for themselves. But the thing is, the opportunities are limited to few large platforms, either in consumer product 2 or 3, whether we are in food, you have 2 or 3, in mobility, you have 2 or 3. Whereas ONDC, you would see a proliferation of very specialized enterprises coming, and their service level can be significantly enhanced and help them to make it very, very focused and relevant to their consumer setters of sellers or buyers. And it will be AI, and AI, in my opinion, will really fast forward this adoption. One. Second thing, way in which ONDC and DPIs, etc., will make a big impact is that when there is a larger adoption, you would see a very broad-based participation from the industry. Today, if you look at commerce, the buyer side, we have a penetration of 7 to 8%, seller side 1 or 2% or 3%. Buyer side is meant to a certain privileged class of the society, whether it is a big cities or small cities. Now, when you have a broad-based participation, each of these enterprises will have a significantly large amount of participation from small micro enterprises on seller side, buyers from villages to small towns, etc. And that data itself is something that will help to feed the AI models and make it more meaningful. So that way, ONDC kind of DPI will benefit from use of AI, will also contribute in an evolution of AI.
Right, Mr. Koshy. I'm really glad actually you brought these points about what you said, because so far India's DPI functions like a public interest layer on top of which the private is constantly innovating. So if I have to take this point forward, do you see these dynamics changing in the future? Perhaps the role of private players in navigating the daily workings would also increase?
Yeah, that's true. Like what you said is true. The whole idea of DPI is to create the rails. And the rails is evolved in such a way that it can be used by different segments of users to make it relevant for their clients. So with more and more DPIs becoming proliferating, and then they all use this idea of interoperability, you would see the exploding linkages. For example, as you had already seen in the ONDC, good side, service side, financial products getting interlinkage, tomorrow complementary insurance product coming, and then helping in micro investments. And eventually, like for example, even we have seen other similar kind of open protocol-based solution in the health sector shaping up, which is seamlessly integrating. So all these things will strengthen the possibilities of very innovative digital solution, which essentially will come from the private sector. And AI is one of the tools for them. So you would see a broad-based participation of private sector in building on this rail that is being made by the DPI. That is the original intention of DPI itself.
Right, Mr. Koshy. I also want to understand from you that how can Budget 2024 change things for ONDC? Because is there any particular space whose budget outlay can give ONDC an impetus, or one that you're really looking forward to for its more progress?
My thought on this is very simple. As you would have appreciated, government and the Honorable Prime Minister and the whole of government has been thinking about digital India and digital economy. So that is an idea that started a few years ago and is building up its momentum. And there, one of the critical component of this digital economy is, of course, commerce, transactions, business, credit, financial products, all of them. In the absence of something like ONDC, it was all some walled gardens, and each of them had its own nuances. Now that such an open network has come, there's a common theme that is linking all of them together. So it becomes eminently possible for government and to have policies, interventions, schemes, etc., for different segments to leverage this network. For example, you would have already seen agriculture, FPOs, farmers, etc., finding ways to leverage this network. You saw artisans, now you saw the Vishwakarma scheme that is coming. They all have a significant leverage potential from the ONDC, and the government, I'm sure, is seized of this potential and possibility, and will have, in my opinion, many more schemes, interventions, and policies to encourage each of the segments, whether it's agriculture, whether it is MSME, whether it is artisans, whether it is trade, whether it is specialized financial products, etc., encouraging the broader adoption of the bottom of the pyramid too, while the big guys can look after themselves. So that's how I feel that, building on this, there will be such intervention that will trigger, which will help ONDC, and the reverse way, the ONDC will be able to liberate from.
Right, sir. So you're trying to say that there will be some intervention from government, and if I have to just understand...
When I say intervention, intervention saying in the whole digitization journey, it may not be ONDC specific, it will digitization journey of various segments, which I understand will be a natural thing, and the ONDC become a significant tool in leveraging that too for the benefit of the economy and the participants.
Right, Mr. Koshy, got your point. Thanks so much for that clarity. But I also want to touch base upon ONDC and Oken. So when the entire conversation around ONDC started, and when the platform also started, protocol rather, Oken also became a part of the conversation. But somehow what I'm picking up is that the conversation has now died out. So do you think that the market is not able to understand how Oken would work in India's DPI and with ONDC, or what exactly is happening there?
See, Oken is a very focused product on credit, which will have its own journey. Now ONDC is enabled, it has enabled is to marry broader financial products with commerce and complement them, each them. That way, these are all, one is a specialized product, other is a more generalized possibility. But at the end of it, it's all about marrying commerce with finance, with credit, with insurance, with investment. So ONDC enhances the opportunity of that thinking.
Right. So Oken is rather a smaller part of it, if we have to say?
Yes, sir, that's one product. Oken is all about credit.
Right.
ONDC sort of enable commerce to marry from credit to insurance to investments and all.
Got it. All right. Thanks so much, sir. Also, governance of DPI is something that I would like to touch base with you. Now, there's a side of the argument that India's DPI can't be a heavily regulator-driven thing. So, do you agree with this? And if not, then what is the right way of governance here?
If you look at every industry, will build its momentum from the private participation. And when they start impacting the larger cross-section, for the benefit of the industry and for the citizens, there will be certain levels of regulation. But DPI itself is a very smart intervention from our side. If I just give you the example, For example, the challenges of platforms, concentration, market practices, etc., is a very major challenge, not just in India, in every developed world too. In fact, they have approached the whole thing through a pure regulatory mechanism, the US and the Europeans. Whereas what India has said is, we are going to create technology markets with enabling policy, which can be significantly, so that way the rules can be heavily protocolized with respect to good behaviors and leave room for innovations, and at the same time make it a disciplined place. So that way, as it matures, every industry, if you look at capital market, as it matures, the appropriate regulation came in that was to do. The biggest advantage of a DPI framework is significantly you can do a lot of this thing programmatically controlled. So with a lighter touch, we can enable better behavior. So the whole idea is about it is how to bring good behavior among the participants. That is very critical in any industry. So how we, that is same as an industry become more all pervading, that kind of when your controls are even important, but the advantage of something like the design of an ONDC and etc. is that it can be heavily, the technology can come a big way in ensuring disciplined behavior and audit trails, traceability, consumer complaints being taken up, history being created, and history being maintained, being made available to the consumers, and so on and so forth. So it is an enabling framework. So it is not either or.
Okay, got it. So technology and behavior also come into play somewhat here. All right. So before we wrap this conversation, I want to touch base upon one last thing. So it took COVID-19 pandemic for DPI in health particularly to kick off in India, if we have to look at it. And the market anyway expects new stacks to come up in this whole India stack that DPI is. So what do you think is a significant problem at this point for which we need a new stack in India's DPI?
No, see, if you look at, in each of these areas, it is getting taken up, and in a way, finally, they are all interconnected. DPA, the whole idea is, it's also how well interconnected. Like, for example, the idea of ONDC is all, our vision is anything that is catalogable can be, become a part of the network with different buying application helping their customers. So similarly, for example, you saw in health, it is shaping up. Similarly, some of the newer area, you would see innovation coming will be the whole energy planning itself. You already heard government announcing very interesting, policy framework for solar energy. And also we are moving into a complete EV network. So all of them will need to have and can have the technology enablement to help this industry mature in a inclusive manner instead of creating small silos and using resources in a very ineffective fashion.
Got it, Mr. Koshy. Thanks so much for joining us for this very special conversation pre-budget 2024. It was a pleasure having you with us. Well, that was Mr. T Koshy, MD and CEO of ONDC, talking to NDTV Profit pre-budget 2024. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit. We'll be bringing you the fastest coverage on the budget.